Welcome to Good Libations, which is our show about mixology. And I'm Ethel Andrews. I'm a mixologist, and as we know, and as I often say, it's a euphemism for a bartender, but hopefully a more upscale bartender with the emphasis on fresh ingredients and nicely made drinks that have our own flourishes on them. And in a previous show, we were talking about making mules, which is a cocktail that has undergone a resurgence finally over, I would say, the past decade maybe. A lot of upscale establishments, especially in downtown LA, started making mules. And many of your more sophisticated venues, even here in the San Gabriel Valley, started making mules. And in its most simple form, we have the Moscow Mule, which only incorporates vodka, obviously. And again, it doesn't have to be upscale, expensive vodka, just something that's decent. Make your focus be on the ingredients that you add to the different types of liquor, that they're fresh juices and fresh fruits and not mixes. But at any rate, that incorporates vodka, fresh squeezed lime, and ginger beer. And again, that's the distinctive factor in a mule, is the addition of ginger beer. And you can use any brand of ginger beer. Most of them are made in Jamaica, a few in other parts of the Caribbean. But at any rate, that's the key ingredient that makes a mule what it is. And this particular mule that I'm going to make today, I actually sort of plagiarized, but put my own nuances on it from an upscale lounge in downtown LA that is actually part of a hotel. And I was very taken with the way they made this drink. It was good, it was well balanced, and it was unique, and yet it was characteristically a mule. And what I like too is they served it in glassware, because as I mentioned on the previous show about mules, characteristically they tend to be served in a pewter mug, which is fine, kind of like you serve a Pim's #1 cup. But you can't really see a drink in a pewter mug, whereas you can see it in a glass, and it kind of has better nuances to it and a better look for it, or to it. At any rate, you can use this style of a glass like I used when I made the Moscow Mule, or you can use one of my favorite types of glassware, which is the chimney glass. I love chimney glasses for tropical drinks, for any tall drink, because again, it exhibits the beauty of the drink and it has an elegance to it. Because it's a slim, tall glass, it adds that nuance of elegance in its presentation and demonstration. So this time we're going to make a different type of a mule. This one is going to involve rum as the base liquor. And I've mentioned this before, but I tend to like to use golden rum over light rum. And I like dark rum when it requires it for full-bodied drinks. To me, using a lighter rum does not really exhibit the characteristics of rum and the ingredients that marry with rum in a drink. But at any rate, what we're going to do first of all is we're going to add the ice to the glass. And we want to add a nice amount of ice, because there's always going to be a melting factor with ice. And if we don't add enough, then we're going to really melt down the drink. And we're going to add enough so it won't have too much meltdown. And again, as the base ingredient, we're going to use golden rum for this particular mule. And we want to add a nice amount of the rum. We could add more, in fact, to taste. And then the second thing that we're going to add to this is pineapple juice. And as per usual, this particular pineapple juice is fresh squeezed from pineapple. It's not a reconstituted product. So we want to add that pineapple juice. And then, to make this drink truly unique, we're actually going to add some unfiltered cranberry juice. Now, some people might prefer to use cranberry juice cocktail. And that's perfectly acceptable. You can use cranberry juice cocktail. You don't have to use unfiltered cranberry juice. And a caveat, if we use unfiltered cranberry juice, the drink might be a little bit too dry for most people's palates. And we are going to add fresh lime to this drink. But what you might want to do is add a bit of Rose's lime juice to it, because that'll add a hint of sweetness to it. And then we can go in and squeeze our lime. And of course, we're going to put a top of ginger beer on this. I'm going to squeeze that lime in. And in this case, about a half a lime should do, because again, we added Rose's lime juice. And how appropriate too, because ginger beer, again, is the usual case, is a product of the Caribbean. And so is Rose's lime juice. So again, how appropriate and how nice. So we're going to squeeze that lime in, hand squeeze, to get the oils from the peel to infuse in the drink. And then we're going to add our splash of ginger beer. Yeah, there's that nice top of ginger beer there. And again, you might want to use cranberry juice cocktail to make it a bit sweeter, if that's what your palate enjoys more. I tend to enjoy it a bit drier. And I am going to add just a tad more of the Rose's lime juice. And also, in this particular cocktail, because we're highlighting the red hue, you might want to add grenadine to it as well, if you like grenadine. And grenadine, you should be subtle with, because typically many establishments, particularly if they make a Mai Tai, will add too much grenadine. And you have this lurid looking red drink that tastes sickly sweet, something like a Roy Rogers or a Shirley Temple, or a so-called dirty Shirley, where you add vodka to basically a Shirley Temple. But we don't want to go that far. But at any rate, this is a lovely drink, and I'm going to take a sip of it to test it out, so to speak, see if it lives up to the hype. Oh yes, that is lovely. And again, the balance of the ingredients and the marrying of the ingredients makes this drink what it is. It truly has a nice flavor to it. You can taste the rum, you can taste the ginger beer. The cranberry juice and the pineapple juice are more subtle, but they're there and they make the drink what it is. And again, never be afraid to experiment and to add your own flourishes to a drink. I've made this drink a certain way. You may want to add additional ingredients. You may want to tweak it to your palate a certain way. But again, this provides us with a nice variation on what a mule is. And again, we always want to emphasize that we want to drink responsibly. We know that we value our community. We value the reputation of our community. So let's keep our community well spoken of. And let's keep our family name and our own personal reputation unsullied by showing responsibility when we consume alcoholic beverages. We want to enjoy the beverages, and we want to make sure, again, that we drink responsibly. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Good Libations. I'm Ethel Andrews, I'm a mixologist, and stay tuned for further episodes on variations of mules. Thank you again for tuning in. Goodbye.